is Marcia speaking to you from the lobby of the Clark County Genealogical Library. Today we're going to take a little bit of a tour through our shelves, which are the bulk of our library resources. They're the library resources that you first see when you come into the library, but we have more and later we'll be talking about it. First of all, when you come into the library, not only over here do we have the new bookshelves, then we go over to the resource shelves. And a couple of books I wanted to point out to you is, first of all, the Red Book. First, let me direct you to one of the books on our shelves. It's the Red Book. And while this information is easily available on the internet, when you're in the library, it is really a handy resource to pull it out, and you can pinpoint for every state and every county in the United States where you may have ancestor people living. It'll tell you all the resources and especially how early the information about those people are actually existing in that particular county or venue or jurisdiction. Let me put this back. While we have a great number of resources, we recognize that sometimes these valuable resources are kind of difficult just to take off the shelf and read in total. So one of the focus groups we have in the library is the research prep group. It's facilitated by Paula Shainline, and if you're interested in joining that group, they meet online, virtually, once a month. But coming up in the next group is this book by Val Greenberg, The Researcher's Guide to American Genealogy. And what the book club does is we read, and once a month we discuss it one chapter at a time. Usually the group gets into personal experiences, how you dealt with things that came up in the chapter. So it's friendly, we network with each other, and we share experiences while reading a pretty good book. And to the left of me, additional resources, immigration books, religion, what kind of books, what kind of ethnic groups were in certain areas at certain times. We come down, we even have atlases and maps. An interesting book here is The Ancestors of All the American Presidents. Interestingly, if you have ancestors that you know were in New England in the 16 and 1700s, it's very possible you may have a distant relationship to one of our earlier, especially American presidents, because guess what? Most of them were, if not born, had families and had left descendants in from the New England states. Next area we're going to work on is our family histories. The next area is our family histories. We have 3 columns, top to bottom, of family histories, and they are alphabetically by family name that is referenced in the title of the book. Now that doesn't mean, like this book, which East Goes West, is a one family compilation of information. But here it's listed the history of the Kraft, Hill, Harris, DeShizer, Fabian, Douglas, and Howlett families. Some books are titled with a single family name, but again, that won't be the only family name. The key here is these are written by the families and donated to the library. It doesn't mean that these are strictly Clark County related families, but their descendants are probably here. And as we all know, families, your patrilineal line, of course, that's your birth name usually, and you'll find those people predominantly. But remember, moms have different names, and so there's going to be a lot of names. The key to it is if you find that that family name is in your tree, you may be able to find additional information. Additionally, we have biographical types of books in here. One on the shelf is Sam Houston. Sam Houston is a pivotal character in the Texas Republic days. He was there for the Alamo times, and he was a territorial governor. He came from Tennessee. He's a big figure in Texas history. Now, that time period is the early 1840s, and while you may or may not be related to Sam Houston, that's a wonderful book to read to get a flavor for the times and the people that you may have had there. And also, in the 21st century, Texas has great genealogical information also. One of the other kind of stories we have is a personal memory type of story, and one of our members, in fact, it's our current treasurer, Lowell Kennedy, after taking a class that was sponsored in the library a few years back, he wrote and published the Palouse story, and that was the story about his early family life in the Palouse, which is eastern Washington. Hi, we've moved around again to yet another alcove. Now these two walls of shelves are primarily states and donated books from all counties in the United States. We start here at Pennsylvania, and then we move around, and over here, our last corner, we get into the Pacific Northwest. Well, of course, that's where we live here. We're in Clark County, Washington. Continuing with our Pacific states, we've come around the corner to Oregon, and that is designated county by county. And we have a lot of records here because, of course, Oregon is across the Columbia River from Washington State, so we do have more. But we move on to, also included in the Pacific Northwest is Idaho records, and then we finally get to the state of Washington here, and we have various counties shelved here until we move on to our own Clark County. I also want to point out to you that here's conveniently organized for you a list of all the Washington counties, as well as a list of all the Oregon counties. So we may or may not have records, but at least you can look on there and know that we've got numbers designated for any book that's in our collection. Now we are in our own Washington state, and of course we continue with the county records shelved and designated. But right here is our own Clark County. We have a wealth of wonderful records that we've accumulated in the 50 years that we've been a genealogical society. Of particular interest to folks who have pioneer ancestry are the two pioneer books compiled and published by CCGS in the, I think, 1998 era. And it gives wonderful stories, pictures, family tree, itemized and designated. The women who compiled and edited this information invited all living descendants, anybody living in the Clark County who had ancestry, who wanted to be included in the book, to compile their materials and share it, and that's how this got published. So going down our shelves, we have a generosity of newspaper clippings that we have accumulated over the years, as well as books of marriage records and birth records and cemetery records, and we go to the back wall, even have a couple of shelves of high school and local yearbooks. All this information is currently being also digitized, but there's nothing like coming into the library and be able to pull out a book and hopefully find your ancestor. Thank you for being with us. If you liked us, give us a like, and we hope you'll subscribe to our channel in future. We're going to continue our tour of our library resources later, so watch for the next episodes.